The easiest way to change yourself is to stay silent in moments when silence holds more power than words, allowing wisdom and understanding to emerge naturally. By choosing silence over impulsive speech, you cultivate patience, emotional intelligence, and a deeper awareness of the world around you. Silence is the key to self-control and inner peace, creating a space where thoughts can settle, emotions can be understood, and clarity can take root. In mastering the art of silence, you gain the ability to respond rather than react, fostering a sense of balance, resilience, and profound personal growth in all aspects of life. Hello friends, welcome to your channel Buddha Blessing. Without further delay, let's move into today's story. A long time ago, in a small village in the kingdom of Magadha, there lived a 25-year-old man named Ethan, who was known for his impatience and quick temper. He had a habit of arguing over even the smallest matters and always felt the need to respond immediately to every situation, often without thinking things through. His impulsive reactions created unnecessary conflicts, making it difficult for others to be around him. Over time, people in the village began avoiding him because of his unpredictable and confrontational nature, preferring peace over unnecessary disputes. Ethan himself started to realize that his short temper and tendency to react instantly were causing him more harm than good, filling his life with stress, frustration, and loneliness instead of the peace and happiness he desired. Despite recognizing this, he struggled to figure out how to change and find a better way to interact with the world around him. One day, Ethan heard that Lord Buddha was giving a sermon in a nearby forest, and curiosity sparked within him. He had often heard about Buddha's immense wisdom, boundless compassion, and life-changing teachings, which had transformed the lives of many seekers. Deep in his heart, he thought, maybe I will find the answers I am looking for. Maybe this is my chance to change. Without hesitation, he rushed toward the gathering, eager to listen and learn. Upon arrival, he saw a large crowd assembled, all captivated by Buddha's words. With profound clarity and simplicity, Buddha spoke about the deeper truths of life, unveiling the path to peace and self-mastery. At one point during the sermon, Buddha's voice resonated through the air as he said, "If you want real change in your life, learn to remain silent in 10 situations." Hearing these words, Ethan felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Could this be the wisdom he had been searching for? Desperate for guidance, he approached Buddha after the sermon, bowed respectfully at his feet, and pleaded earnestly, "Lord, you said that to change, one should remain silent in 10 situations. Please explain what they are and how I can practice them in my life." Buddha, seeing Ethan's sincere yearning for transformation, smiled gently and responded, "To truly understand, you must cultivate patience, discipline, and deep self-reflection. If you are willing to embrace these teachings with dedication and an open heart, then come with me, and I shall guide you on this path of wisdom." Ethan agreed, and thus his journey began. The 10 places to stay silent. 1. When someone criticizes you. Buddha's first lesson to Ethan was about the power of silence in the face of criticism. He explained that when someone criticizes you, the best response is to remain silent. Criticism, whether justified or not, is an opportunity for learning and self-reflection. If you react with anger or defensiveness, you gain nothing. But if you stay silent, observe, and reflect, you can discern whether the criticism is valid and use it for personal growth. To illustrate this, Buddha shared a story. Once, a man insulted me in front of many people. Instead of reacting, I remained quiet and listened. When he was done, I calmly asked him, "If you offer someone a gift, but they refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man thought for a moment and replied, "To me, of course." I then said, "Similarly, your words of insult remain with you, for I do not accept them." Hearing this, Ethan felt inspired and decided to apply this wisdom in his own life. Initially, it was challenging. His old habit of reacting was strong. However, as he consciously practiced staying silent in the face of criticism, he noticed a transformation within himself. Instead of wasting energy on unnecessary arguments, he began to reflect, learn, and grow, gaining a newfound sense of inner peace and emotional strength. 2. When someone argues with you. A few days later, Buddha continued teaching Ethan the power of silence, this time in the context of arguments. He explained that in most arguments, it is not the truth that prevails, but the ego that seeks victory. When emotions take control, reasoning fades, and words become weapons rather than tools for understanding. But if you remain silent, you allow yourself to observe, understand the situation more clearly, and make wiser decisions instead of escalating conflicts unnecessarily. To illustrate his point, Buddha shared a thought-provoking story. Two farmers once fought bitterly over a piece of land, each passionately claiming it as their own. The argument grew so intense that they came to me seeking judgment. I simply asked them, "Did either of you bring this land with you when you were born? And will either of you take it with you when you die?" Hearing this, both men fell silent, realizing the futility of their argument. Ethan reflected on this story and understood that silence in the face of conflict is not a sign of weakness, but a mark of wisdom. By choosing to stay quiet, instead of arguing over trivial matters, he found that unnecessary conflicts could be avoided and meaningful solutions could emerge. Over time, he realized that silence allowed emotions to settle, making room for thoughtful responses rather than impulsive reactions, ultimately leading to greater peace in his life. 3. When someone is angry, one day, Buddha taught Ethan an important lesson about dealing with anger. He explained that anger is like a fire. If you add fuel by reacting, it grows stronger, consuming everything in its path. But if you do nothing and remain silent, the fire eventually burns out on its own. When someone is angry, responding with silence can prevent escalation and allow the situation to cool down naturally. To illustrate this, Buddha shared a powerful story. Once, a mighty king, consumed by anger, sentenced his trusted minister to death over a misunderstanding. The minister, instead of arguing or pleading for his life, chose to remain silent. He understood that speaking in the heat of the moment would only worsen the situation. The next day, after calming down, the king deeply regretted his hasty decision and reversed the order. Had the minister reacted impulsively, he might have angered the king further and lost his life. Ethan listened carefully and saw the wisdom in this teaching. He realized that silence in the face of another person's anger is not a sign of weakness but of strength and self-control. He decided to apply this in his life, choosing silence over immediate reaction whenever he encountered anger. Over time, he found that by staying quiet and allowing emotions to settle, he could prevent conflicts, avoid unnecessary regrets, and maintain harmony in his relationships. Number 4. When you are sad one day, Ethan found himself overwhelmed with deep sorrow, struggling to find a way out of his emotions. Seeing his distress, Buddha gently advised him, "When you are sad, stay silent. Do not resist or suppress your sadness. Instead, embrace the silence, for within it lies the key to understanding your emotions." Sadness, though painful, has the power to open the door to self-transformation. If you remain still and listen to your heart, you will find the answers you seek. Buddha continued, "Many people try to escape sorrow, but those who sit with it in silence learn valuable lessons about themselves. Suffering is not meant to break you, it is meant to shape you. If you allow yourself to reflect rather than react, sorrow will not weaken you, it will strengthen you." Ethan took these words to heart. Instead of running from his sadness or drowning it in distractions, he practiced silence and self-reflection. Over time, he realized that in his quiet moments, clarity emerged. He began to understand his emotions, find inner peace, and grow stronger with each experience. 5. When someone provokes you. Buddha once said, "When someone deliberately provokes you, silence is the strongest response." It shows patience and strength. To illustrate this wisdom, he shared a story about a monk who lived in a small village. Every day, certain villagers would go out of their way to harass and insult him, trying to break his peace. However, the monk never reacted, never spoke back, nor showed any signs of anger. Instead, he remained silent and calm, carrying on with his daily life as if their words meant nothing. Over time, the villagers grew tired of their efforts. They began to realize that their actions had no effect on him. No anger, no frustration, no retaliation. Eventually, they stopped provoking him altogether, understanding that their negativity had no power over someone who embraced true inner peace. Through this story, Buddha emphasized that silence in the face of provocation is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of patience, wisdom, and unshakable inner strength. 6. When you are not asked for advice. Buddha once explained, "Unsolicited advice is rarely valued. Speak only when asked. Otherwise, your silence is more meaningful." Ethan found this lesson particularly useful in his daily life. He had often given advice to friends and colleagues without being asked, only to see his words dismissed or ignored. Over time, he realized that people listen more attentively when they genuinely seek guidance, rather than when advice is imposed upon them. By practicing restraint and speaking only when invited to do so, Ethan noticed that his words carried more weight and were better received. He learned that sometimes silence itself is a form of wisdom, allowing others the space to find their own answers or to ask for help when they are truly ready. 7. When you are proud of your knowledge. Buddha taught that knowledge should always be worn with humility. If you boast about it, it loses value. True wisdom is reflected in actions, not words. He illustrated this with a simple yet profound example. A wise man in a village was well-versed in scriptures and philosophy, but he never flaunted his knowledge. Instead, he quietly helped others, offering guidance only when asked and demonstrating his wisdom through his actions. In contrast, another man in the village constantly boasted about his intellect, seeking admiration and recognition. However, when challenges arose, his actions did not align with his words, and people soon realized that his wisdom was shallow. Over time, the villagers came to respect the humble man, recognizing that true knowledge is not about showing off, but about applying it meaningfully in life. Buddha's lesson reminds us that wisdom shines brightest when it is lived rather than spoken. 8. When no one wants to hear the truth. Buddha once said, "Truth only matters when the listener is ready. If you force it on someone unwilling, it will cause resentment. Instead, plant the seed of truth in silence. It will bear fruit when the time is right." To illustrate this, he shared a story. A wise monk once approached a powerful king and told him, "Your decisions are wrong." The king, feeling insulted and angered by the monk's blunt words, ordered him to be thrown out of the palace. The monk left without protest, understanding that the king was not yet ready to hear the truth. Years passed, and the king faced many hardships due to his poor decisions. Through these experiences, he slowly realized the wisdom behind the monk's words. When he finally understood his mistakes, he sought out the monk and humbly invited him back to the palace. This time, instead of rejecting his counsel, the king embraced it and made the monk his trusted advisor. Buddha's teaching reminds us that forcing truth upon someone who is not prepared will only lead to resistance. But when spoken at the right time with patience and wisdom, truth has the power to transform lives. 9. When circumstances are beyond your control. Buddha once said, "Some situations in life cannot be changed. Getting upset only steals your peace. Accept what you cannot control and remain calm." To illustrate this wisdom, he shared an example. A troubled farmer approached Buddha and asked, "My land is dry. What should I do?" He was frustrated by the lack of rain, believing his efforts were in vain. Buddha gently replied, "You cannot change the rain, but you can adapt your efforts. Stay silent, accept what is beyond your control, and focus on solutions." The farmer pondered these words and soon realized that instead of complaining, he could dig wells, store water, or grow crops that required less moisture. By shifting his mindset from frustration to adaptability, he found peace and success. Buddha's lesson teaches us that resisting what cannot be changed only brings suffering. True wisdom lies in remaining calm and channeling our energy toward actions that lead to progress. 10. When your heart is full. Buddha said, "When your heart is full of gratitude, love, and peace, words become unnecessary. Silence becomes your deepest expression." He told Ethan a story of a disciple who achieved enlightenment. Overwhelmed with gratitude, the disciple wanted to thank his teacher but found no words. The teacher smiled and said, "Your silence is the greatest thanks." The tests of silence. To ensure Ethan truly understood, Buddha gave him a series of tests. Criticism. He sent Ethan to a village where people knew his past. When they insulted him, Ethan remained silent. The villagers, surprised by his change, eventually stopped. Argument. He was told to question a merchant. When the merchant argued, Ethan remained silent. The merchant, confused, stopped arguing. Anger. He approached a man known for his temper. When the man lashed out, Ethan remained silent. The man calmed down and reflected. Sorrow. He sat silently with a grieving widow, offering comfort without words. Provocation. He ignored deliberate insults, showing the strength of silence. Finally, Ethan felt peace. He bowed to Buddha and said, "Now I understand. Silence is true wisdom." The lesson. This story teaches us that silence isn't just the absence of words. It's the language of the soul, a profound means of understanding ourselves and the world around us. When we embrace silence, we create space for deeper reflection, inner peace, and true transformation. It is in those quiet moments that wisdom emerges unclouded by distractions, allowing us to perceive truths that often remain hidden in the noise of everyday life. Learning when to be silent is not just a skill, but a path toward self-mastery and personal growth, shaping our ability to navigate challenges with grace and resilience. Master silence and you master yourself, gaining clarity, strength, and a deeper connection to the essence of life, ultimately fostering a profound sense of harmony and enlightenment.